guys, and welcome back. Today what we're going to be looking at is the look angle vectors, which are basically very similar to how ray tracing works, which we covered in last week's video. This one is a little bit different though. So let's start by removing the X, Y, and Z blocks from this block, and then we can give a kind of an idea of what is going on with this. So we're going to need a way to repeat this kind of distance, because there isn't really any way with without ray tracing to spawn one single particle. So we're gonna just put this down here for now, and when we right click with an item, it should just be in front of us where we're looking. Now we'll be able to do like a different kind of system where we can make a line of particles, but we'll do that after we test. So let's go ahead and save this, and then we'll pop into game and give it a quick test. Now, if we go ahead and try testing right now, you might notice that there is not really anything happening. We can go into third person or I guess first person or whatever. And you can see when I'm right clicking on the item, there is nothing actually generating. So this is probably one of the most common issues that people might have, is trying to figure out exactly why it's not generating and like particles and stuff. And that's actually a really common mistake with these blocks. So if we go back into MCreator and we'll do a quick look at what's going on. So looking at the blocks, this is going to get the look angle. We can do something a little bit different. We're going to combine the X, Y, and Z with our X, Y, and Z blocks with the look angle. So this should give us the position that we need for those blocks. So if we go ahead and go into Minecraft, grab our X, our Y, and RZ. In the case that it is -1 to +1, this should work fine, but I'm pretty sure that it's a -1 to +1 value. So we can print one of these values out just to kind of see what's going on. We'll go with just a message player one, and we'll create text so we can basically get that value. And we'll go ahead and print out, I think Y will be a little bit easier. So we don't need two of these blocks, we'll just need one. And we don't need to do the number here, so we're just going to use that particular one. And then we're going to remove that, place that here, and we'll just leave it as chat for the chat message so we can reference to it later and we don't have to do it multiple times. So this should work now if everything is set up correctly. So let's go ahead and save this and then hop back into game. All right, so we can look at our chat message, and if we look up, then we can see that is a full 1 when we look up, full -1 when we look down. And if we go into F1, we might still not be seeing it because it could be on server side. I'm not entirely sure if, oh no, there is particles, it's at our feet. So basically, let's go ahead and turn this to day. Time set day. Whoop, not too wise. There we go. Okay, let's go back out. And we can see that it happens just off to the center of where we are. And if we look around, then it's a little bit different at a different location. So this should be actually facing the player where we're looking, though it's a little bit off to the center, as you can see here. This is probably because we're using the coordinates of the entity. So if we want to get the exact position, we would have to do something a little bit different. And that would probably be using the entity position blocks or something around those lines. There might be other commands that we can do. So let's go take a look at what our options are, and then we'll see if we can't get something set up for the look direction and then do a line of particles. So our X, Y, and Z is okay. It gets us to where we currently are, but it's not exactly going to provide us with the needed thing. I'm going to set this to Happy Villager because it lasts a little bit longer than the compost particles. And we're also going to see if we can't swap this out with the entity position. So we'll see if we can't change it up a little bit. So the entity position will be at the feet of the entity. So this is going to be a little bit different because we're going to need to offset the position of the Y position to the player's look direction, right? So this is only getting the angle where we need to actually increase this by feet. So 1 to maybe like 1.6 or something like that. So that should be somewhere around where the eye position is. And then we're also going to need to get the position for the X for the entity. And that these should center it with the entity's look at center of the entity itself. So right in where the axis of the entity is, where the X, Y, and Z blocks would have been where the block is for their axis point, which is more on the corner of the entity, and that's why it was offset towards one part of the actual block. These blocks do a little bit different. They actually center it where the entity is rather than have it grid-based where the blocks and stuff. This does matter depending on the procedures. Because we're running it from a player right clicks event, so with an item, this is going to be a little bit world based as well as entity based. So we can use the entity blocks for this. This should get us roughly around where the eye height is. I can't remember the exact height of where the eye height is. Hopefully it will be that particular version. It's over 1. It's more about 1.6 or something like that, somewhere in there. And then we're just basically combining the look up and look down position. So once we have this set up, we can actually start adding a line after this once we know this is actually putting the particle in front of us. So let's go ahead and just go and save this, and then we'll go ahead and pop back into game. All right, so let's go ahead and right click, and we can see that there is definitely some particles being spawned in front of us. This is actually almost the perfect location because it's right at where our what do you call it, the part where we're looking at is. You might also notice that it goes a little bit further. If we go out into first person, it might be easier. So you can kind of see that it's around the circle of the entity itself. So it's not exactly further, it's just some of these particles are actually smaller than the other particles. So it gives the impression that it's further away from the player than it actually is. It's still the same, roughly the same distance. It might be closer when we're looking down or looking up, because that's going to get it a little bit closer to the particular. There's basically a spear around the player's head when we're actually looking. So this is exactly what we want for when we do the line effect for the particles itself, because when we look, we want to basically shoot a line of particles directly in front of us. So let's do that next after I fill in something that I forgot to do. So I forgot to mention where to find these blocks, the vector ones, and that can be found under the entity tab and then under the data. And then if you scroll down a little bit, they're right down here where it says look angle, and then basically the look angle vector, and then we have the 3 entity ones. There's also a block here on newer versions that support vectors. We have a direct vector block that basically gets all 3 of these without needing individual ones. Really depends on what you're using it for. So options there for doing what you need with the vectors. Now, basically what we're working on was trying to get this into a line now, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we need to basically add a value of where the particles are going to be going, right? So we have our vector here. We have our offset where our position is from the anchor point of the entity. Now we just need a multiplier to basically allow us to get the particle effect to go in a straight line, right? So what we can do now is we can go ahead and add a replete block. This will allow us to make a number. We'll set the particles to maybe 32 just to start. We could do 16 or something too. That would work. We're not worried about that. We will need a variable though. We'll call this dis for distance, and then we'll go ahead and set this as a number variable. And what we want to do is have it as 0 for the basic. So we don't actually need to assign this by default when we have a variable like this. If we go into the code view, wherever that is, they changed things around on this version, I think. Okay, there we go. It's down here on the bottom here. So if we look at the procedure here, we can see that we have, it should be already imported as 0. Yeah, we have a double here. This is called dis. So the default value, we don't have this block on the thing right now or it assigned to anything. So the default value is already 0. So we don't need to actually do anything with that particular block. So we can just increase it in the loop and that will be completely fine. So because we're starting with 0 anyways, so we don't have to predetermine that there's a 0 or anything like that and set it all up. If you needed a specific number, then you would do that. But all right, so we have that part, and then what we need to do is we need to loop that. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need that necessarily anymore. And we're going to go ahead and add the value for our X, Y, and Z. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to increase this number by our dis number. And this will basically work. So we're going to actually go ahead and do this through here and make sure that our adding is for this part right here. So we should be adding the look direction with our dis, so which is our distance, right? So we're going ahead and add our y1, and we'll add dis here for that one as well, and then we'll do that for the other one. Now if this doesn't work, then you would use multiplication. So we'll delete that, add this one here, and we'll go ahead and save this. And then what we can do is place this onto our loop here. So this will run 32 times. So it should either increase the number for the vector or it should basically subtract it. Now, if we're only adding a specific number, we might want to multiply. And that would basically allow us to multiply the number, which I think I'm pretty sure we need multiplication for. So we'll go ahead with multiplication instead. And even if it's a negative number, it should still go the direction that we're looking. If we're adding a number, then it would go a specific direction, so in a positive direction. But we want to make sure that it will actually keep with the vector angle. So if it's a -1 and we add a 1 to it, then it should be a -2 in that case. So this is exactly what we should need with a multiplication, right? So let's go ahead and save that, and we'll pop back into game and give it a quick look. All right, so let's go ahead and look at that. We can see that we have a straight line, unlike the ray tracing one. We had kind of like a jagged line. This one gives us a straight line of where we're looking. So if we look up, we can see that it goes upwards. If we look down, then you can see it goes downwards. It goes directly the line that we're facing at that point. So we'll stand extremely still. Look at that tree there. And you can see that we don't see all the particles right away because it's going the exact direction that we're going. If it was a little bit higher or a little bit lower, then it wouldn't be in our crosshair when we're actually placing it. So this does work at the 0 or 1.6 eye height level. So that's basically it. And you can like do particle effects to kind of shoot, I don't know, like imitate, like, I don't know, like ray beams or something like that. So you have a lot of control over straight direction and stuff. So hopefully you guys found today's video useful. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, comment down below, rate the video. I have a Discord server if you are interested in joining a community for other MCreator users and stuff like that. We have a few different channels for MCreator. Actually, we have a lot of channels. I also post updates for my gaming channel there, for feeds, and as well as new videos for MCreator and my other channels as well. So if you're interested in that or any of the projects that I work on, definitely consider joining the Discord server. So outside of that, if you're new to my channel, again, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.